All right. Good morning, old school Texas Tech. I have your I have a famous personality with me today, a real estate agent in Dallas, and sort of one of the godfathers of old school Texas Tech. You're starting to see him a little more. He's starting to communicate a little more within the group. But we're glad to have him this morning. We're going to preview the West Virginia game. I think one thing before we even start talking, we can all agree this is a really, really important game. I might argue that this might be the most important game of the year so far. But what do you think? What do you think? What do you think, Jordan? Most important game?
Yeah, I would say so. Number one, glad to be here. I feel so important and so privileged, Taylor. But
Yeah, my manners are not good. Well, first of all, I continue to wear this hat. One of the members of our group has suggested that it is because he thinks I am in the witness protection program, which is a possibility. It also could have a lot to do with the fact that I don't feel like getting a haircut right now. And when you live in Ecuador, the brilliant thing about it is, if you don't feel like getting a haircut, you don't necessarily have to do that. So it's kind of cool. But have you had a good week?
I have. And hey, man, if you don't want to get a haircut, don't get a haircut.
Are you moving some product, some real estate land,
A little bit. It's
houses?
it's an interesting market right now, which will be a
Yeah.
conversation for another video. It's
All right. All right.
good to be
All
here.
right. So, really important game. I think I
Yep.
don't like to look ahead, but I think this one and the next one are just absolutely huge. They're not necessarily the best teams in the Big 12, but they are huge games for us. Let's go ahead and start off. Worst case scenario versus West Virginia.
Well, I think the worst case scenario is a loss. I mean, I don't think I know they're 2-1. I think they got beat up by Penn State, who's pretty good. They're
Not beat up. I won two. I don't think it was it too bad? I
I
don't
thought
think they got.
it was like 38-14. So I mean,
Was
I
it
caught
38-14?
38-14, something like that.
You're right. 38-15. You're
30.
right.
I mean, that's a pretty solid beating. Penn State is a top 10 team right now, I believe. I don't know a whole lot about their personnel, though. But I mean, honestly, man, a close loss, maybe like a late field goal, I think is worst case scenario. It'll
Worst
be,
case scenario.
yeah, that's my thought. But they're like you said, we're 1-2 right now. There is a chasm of a difference between two and two and 1-3. We get
Oh
to
yeah.
we
Oh
get to
yeah.
fall to 1-3. It's. I mean, I don't have to tell you guys this, but you may want to that panic buttons.
Yeah. Yeah. There would definitely be. I actually think 1-3 could cost not immediately, but it could cost the coordinator his job, and I have a feeling I know which one it would be.
Yeah,
Or let's put it this way, not his job. I think it could cost him his. I just gave it. I'm going to give it away. Could cost him his play calling abilities. I don't
sure.
know, but I think it could. I don't think, and I think we've seen this even with some of the great Tech coaches. I was too young to keep up with this kind of thing with Spike Dykes, but I know Leach tweaked his staff several times. I know it's not a model we necessarily should be following, but the three subsequent coaches. I think they all tweaked their staffs a little bit here and there, or move people around, things like that. I think if we were to worst case scenario, if we were to lose, then there could definitely be some changes on the staff with the assistants. My worst case scenario. So I think this game comes down to who's going to play the other one's game, who's going to be forced to play the other one's game. So it seems like West Virginia, Neil Brown is when we knew Neil Brown when he was at Tech, he was a young coordinator under that coach named Tommy Tuberville that so many of us, love so much. But anyway, he was an air raid guy. I mean, he ran the ball. We had some good running backs in those days. He ran the ball, but he was an air raid guy. If you look at their statistics right now, They run the football a lot. They already have 601 yards on the ground for the year, and they have 537 yards through the air. They have a running back. Their second string running back has gotten the ball 12 times. He averages 9.2 yards a carry.
That's it. How many
So
9.2
yeah,
yards?
yeah. So I'm sure that West Virginia fans might, well, although their starter average is almost five, so they rotate running backs. So I'm sure all of us who have been screaming to hand the ball to Taj Brooks, I'm sure they're screaming to hand the ball to last name White, 9.2 yards a carry. So I think this game is about who forces the other to play their style of football. If West Virginia forces us to play their style of football, where they control the clock, and we're just suffocated for possessions, then I think we could lose something like. We don't want to get into a game where it would be like a 28-17 kind of deal. I think would be worst case scenario. Their home crowd gets into it. Number 12 has problems. Who knows what they would do at quarterback if he started to struggle? I think he's going to be on a fairly short leash. So I think that the scenario where we play their style of football is fairly low, because I do think number 12 is on I adopted that because his last name makes no sense to me. The number 12, if we I think they would be quick to pull him if he's struggling. So I think that they're gonna have to play. I think we're gonna force them to play our style of game. But worst case scenario, we have to go into like a Big Ten ground and pound type game, where we're not throwing the ball enough, and we're having to defend running backs who are averaging 5 to 10 yards a carry. That would be like a 28-17, maybe 35-17 type, would be worst case scenario.
Makes sense to me.
All right. What do you think for best case scenario?
Okay, so here's my thought. We've had West Virginia's number for a while.
Four in a
We see
row, I think. Four in a row.
I was going to guess 4 to 5 in a row. It seems like we've got them, but I know Neil Brown is a cornered, wounded animal. He's literally any day going to get fired, and I know that type of person with that type of team can be dangerous. So I think Tech is going to escape with a 24-20 win.
Oh, this is best case scenario.
Best case scenario. Okay. Well, best case, I'm going to say about 30, maybe 31 to 17 along those lines. I don't think
Okay.
we're not blowing them out by any means. We're not.
Okay. I don't know. I think there's is a scenario where we could blow them out. Again, I think if they and just tell me why you disagree. But if we force them to play our game, and I think our offense, Tony Bradford, after the loss against Oregon, he said, what's your message for young players? He said, we are so close. And he did not seem like defeated or down or anything like that. And I think why he's saying that is because I think our defense has actually played pretty good. That deal in Wyoming was a little bit of an anomaly. Obviously, there were some turnovers and things like that going on. The offense did not provide a lot of support. I thought the defense played okay up there. I thought they played pretty good against Oregon, holding Oregon to 38 with, didn't we have 4 turnovers in that game?
And then one pick six. So really, Oregon scored 31 points on us. And I think they
Yeah.
scored on their first 2 drives as well. So
And that's pretty good. You hold Oregon to 30, 31 points. That's pretty good. And then the defense was absolutely, I mean, obviously it was inferior competition, but the defense was absolutely fantastic against Charleston State. And they had put up, I know, again, it's an inferior opponent. It's a given, but they had put up 50 points in their 2 previous games. And really they should have gone for it on that 4th down. They just didn't want to get shut out. They were already way down. They should have gone for it on the 4th down. So we could have very easily shut them out. And we had a bunch of freshmen and sophomores playing when they scored that field goal. So I think the best case scenario is we whipped them up pretty good. We whipped them up at Jones pretty good last year. I know we beat them. I think it was like Matt Wells' last win at Tech. We beat them the year before in Morgantown, which was about the same time as an earlier game. So I think the best case scenario is we get them out of their game and into ours, where we're running Taj, we're opening up, we're running Taj no matter what, no matter how many guys they have in the box, they can't stop it. Then I think getting Mason Tharp involved would be good. Getting several of these receivers involved. I could see a scenario where we go like 42-21, something
Okay.
like that, or maybe even 42-14. This one's a hard one. This is the hardest one to pick so far because we just we don't they're a little bit of a wild card, I think. Like you said, Neil Brown's under the gun. That AD is from North Texas, and it's his first year. And he's had to deal with the Huggins deal in basketball. And the big rumor is that he's always wanted to bring in his own football coach. So Ren Baker is his name. A pretty good AD, pretty good, a good guy. I just think I think he would love an excuse to bring in his own guy. So yeah, you're definitely right about that. And I think you already told us what you think the real score is going to be, but go ahead and explain it to us.
I'm going to
Tell
say
us
20.
again.
I think 24-20. I think we're going to slug it out. It's going to be close all game, and we're going to probably lead 3 of the quarters, but it's never going to really be in doubt. The final score will probably be a little bit closer. Maybe they add a late score to make it closer, but I say 24-20 Texas Tech.
All right. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be an epic football game, and I think it's going to be an epic win for us. I think they're going to play really hard. Neil Brown is taking it personal. I know he's commented, I think either 3 out of the last 4 times that we've played and we've won. We've been coming off a bye week. So this is the first time where we haven't come off a bye week. And that is a big deal in college football. I think it's going to end up being 31-24. And I think Tech might kind of have to win it late. I just think we have a little bit too much offense for them. I think our defensive line is going to be key. We've got to get some pressure on them. They've got some injury issues at quarterback. They don't even know who's going to start. I think we could wear down their offensive line towards the end of the game. I think our defense could come up with some big stops at the end, and then we get a touchdown. But I expect it to be a very good game on Saturday and an extremely, extremely important game. And I don't hate to look ahead, but Houston next week in Lubbock's also an extremely important game.
Totally agree, man. Let's get this Big 12 season started right. 1-0. Let's do it.
All right. So the question of the week kind of mixed things up a little bit. I had a hard time with this, but I want you to go first. Three best players on the team, and you are free to mention honorable mentions if you want. And also, I would love for anybody who watches this, it would really help us out if you would subscribe, you would like, and then also, especially if you can do it, it's fine if you want to do it on the group, especially if you can do it on the YouTube channel. Tell us your three, not favorite, but the three you think who you think are the 3 best players on the roster. I was going to give some criteria, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it wide open. So 3 best players. Explain it however you want. Throw in as many honorable mentions as you want.
Okay, so 3 best players. I'm not even going to really go in any particular order on this. These are the ones that I think are the best. I would go. I'm going to start out by saying 1 on offense, 2 on defense, and
Okay, I've got the same.
on
Yeah,
offense,
I've got the same.
picking Taj Brooks because he's averaging like almost 7.5 yards a carry, and he's not
7.3. 7.3. I just looked it up earlier.
Just think if they would use him a little bit more, man. He's an excellent player. I think he's the best player on offense. If you would have asked me before the season started, I would have probably said Tyler Shuck, but we'll leave him off the list right now.
right now. We still have 9 games left,
We have
right?
9 games left. He could still right the ship.
And he's still and no matter what anybody says and all the hate that he's been getting, he still wants to play on Sundays. Believe me.
That he does. So I'm taking Taj Brooks, and then the next one, I'm going to say old Taylor Demerson. I know it's funny because I think he leads the team in tackles, but he's had, I think, at least a sack and interception. He's just all over the field. I've seen him put some nasty hits on some people. I never know
Okay.
what's his first name. Is it Dadrian? Dadri? I never remember. I think I butcher it every time. So I'm just going to call him Taylor Demerson.
And then Rabbit, right? It's a
Yeah,
nickname.
yeah. And then my number three, I'm going to go ahead and say, because I don't want to take the 2 top tacklers. I think that's too easy. I'm going to say Jalen Hutchings.
Okay. Our lists were pretty close. Do you have any honorable mention players you want to mention?
Probably, I honestly, man, I kind of like old Tharp. I think he could be a very very underutilized weapon. I would be throwing to him a lot of jump balls, 3rd and 10. Just throw a jump ball to him and let him catch it, get in the end zone. I think that he could be, if Kitley could actually use him properly, I think he would be great. So I'm going to go ahead and say, I don't even know where he is on the receiving chart. I think he's like 6th or 7th on the team right now.
All right.
So
It's about, I think it's closer to 4. I have the West Virginia
got
stats up right now.
to look at
You and I actually have very similar lists, which is funny because we did not talk about it, right? We did not talk
No,
about it.
he certainly did not.
All right, so I'm gonna start with the one of the I'll mention my honorable mention players at the end. I'm gonna mention the one that's different from you and I in the first three. You said Hutchins. I'm going the guy next to him, Tony Bradford. I'm actually going with him as one of the best players on the team right now. I think he's fantastic. He's going to be really important this week because if those two guys, Hutchins and Bradford, can have big games and get big game against the West Virginia offensive line, which is I think overachieved a little bit this year. I don't think they were expected. I remember watching the Baylor guys on 365. I'm pretty sure they were talking about how West Virginia's offensive line was going to be a weakness. It certainly doesn't appear to be so far, but those guys are good enough. And I can't believe I'm saying this in my lifetime, at least in the last 25 years. But those two guys, Bradfords and Hutchins, get hot against West Virginia and disrupt things in the middle. They're going to have a long day. They're going to have a pretty long day against us, I think. So that's one of the players. I also have Robert Taylor Dimerson. I heard a stat last week. Basically, if he gets a takeaway in a game, statistically, it's been proven that we win. So he had a takeaway, he had an interception, and I believe it was in the second half against Tarleton. We won. That's pretty much been the pattern. He gets a fumble recovery, a takeaway of any kind, and we win. He's undersized for the NFL, yet the NFL guys apparently are very interested in him because he's just one of those guys who seems to make the right play at the right time. He seems like a guy that Jimmy Johnson would draft, late in the draft, kind of a steal that just always seems to be at the right place at the right time. So I agree with you on Rabbit, Taylor Dimerson. For some reason I never get his because everyone the last defensive coordinator called him Rabbit too. So and then I'm going Taj Brooks for sure. Taj Brooks has got to be a big part of the game plan the next couple of weeks. I know they're doing these checkoffs on the line of scrimmage if they're putting too many people in the box. To me, try it a couple times with 7, 8 players in the box because I think he could run through those guys. I think he's a fantastic player. And if we start, we know no fan base in the country knows more what it feels like to put 7, 8 guys in the box and have a running back just start tearing you up, even with that many players in the box. I mean, how that demoralizes a defense. I think we can do that. And we're getting Cameron Valdez back this week. He had an ACL problem. So you could get a little thunder lightning thing going there with those two. I'm not saying by any means to abandon the passing game, but we also can't forget about the running back. In the running back, I want to remind our offensive coordinator who I like and I think is a bright young guy. Quarterback and running back, they are two separate positions. So the running back is usually the one that you hand the ball off to. I would prefer to use a running back instead of the quarterback, especially one that's injury prone. I would prefer to use the running back to get our rushing yards. So those are my three. Do you have any comments on my three? And then I'm going to talk some honorable mentions.
List. Good list.
Okay. So I agree with you on Mason Tharp. I think Mason Tharp is also really key. He has 2 touchdown catches already. He's already matched his total from last year. He's 6'9". I mean, if he score, I mean, Joey McGuire made the comment that if he scores, we're probably going to win. We should have beaten Oregon. He scored 1 touchdown against Oregon. I think that if we can keep getting him more involved, it's just going to help the offense even more. It tears me up not to give even one of the top 3 spots to one of the offensive linemen. I think they've blocked the run well, but they just haven't blocked the pass that well. Part of it's because the quarterbacks maybe holding the ball too long. I know Joey McGuire talked about he's talked a lot to number 12 Tyler Shuck about don't try to be 100% perfect, try to be 90% perfect, because what's happening is he's just not wanting to make any mistakes, so he's holding the ball too long. It's putting a lot of pressure on our offensive line, so he needs to get the ball out quicker for sure. And I think he's going to be on a short leash no matter what the coaches say. Baron Morton, that one pick he threw, watch it, tell me, put it on the YouTube thread when you like and subscribe. But that to me was an interception. I mean, that interception was pass interference. So I don't think they would hesitate for a second to put him into the game if they thought that it would get us a win against West Virginia. I also think they should consider the Mike Leach strategy of if Tyler is struggling for a series, put Baron Morton in for one series just to shake it up a little bit. Also, they're different players. The defense will be thrown off a little bit, and then give it back to Tyler. Do things like that. I think that would be fine with these two. They seem like they're mature players.
Totally agree, man. If anybody, I mean, last week it's 24-0. Baron Morton comes in. To me, that speaks volumes. That's basically a message saying, hey, if you're
Well, I
going to
said
another guy coming in.
he said he was going to put Morton in unless it was within 3 going into the second half. So I mean, but that's not normal for a backup quarterback. So Baron Morton is no normal backup quarterback. He's in the on my recap. He's definitely in the Graham Harrell League. I think Morton as a sophomore. He's in the Graham Harrell League. So you can imagine keeping. Yeah, Tyler could get a lot better. I think there's something. I think it's more of a head game right now, more than it is anything else. So I think that we're going to need both those guys the rest of the way. And then I'll let everyone go. But my last honorable mention: Rusty Stats played really well on Saturday, and so I think he's a player that's going to continue to get better.
Good analysis, my friend.
All right. Anything you want to add?
No, but I think we're going to win. We'll be talking 2-2 whenever I see you again.
And get you and talking about yet another big game against Houston.
Yep.
All right. Have a great weekend. I'm looking forward. I can't believe it's already another rowdy game day. I'm looking forward to talking to everyone on the thread. Please, it would really help us out a lot if you subscribe and like. We would like to grow this channel and create some additional content, those kinds of things. If you could just subscribe and like, we would really appreciate it. Obviously, put any comments, even if you want to talk about me being in the witness protection program like someone did the other day. Those kind of comments are actually entertaining to me. So go ahead, fire away. All right.
I appreciate it, Taylor. I'll see you, bud.
All right. See you next week.
Yep.